Colonialism isn't just a chapter in history books, it's a ghost we are still living with. For nearly 200 years, British rule didn't just exploit India's wealth, it rewired how we think, act, and even see ourselves. And here's the kicker, this isn't just history, it's happening right now. From chasing Western beauty standards to equating fluency in English with intelligence, the colonial hangover isn't just alive, it's thriving. How are we still chasing Western validation? How does this mindset linger? Let's take a closer look. Hello and welcome aboard the Tangent Train, where we derail on purpose because every detour has a story. Today, we are tackling a topic that's still shaping us long after the fact, the colonial hangover in India. Let's dive into how these old scars are still shaping the way we think and live today. So, let's start with the big question. What exactly is a colonial hangover? It's not just about the past. Colonial hangover refers to the lingering psychological, cultural, and social effects of colonization that continue to impact former colonies even after gaining independence. It's the mindset or behaviors that arise from centuries of colonial rule, where colonized people often internalize the values, ideals, and systems of their rulers. These attitudes run deep, and while some of us consciously reject them, others internalize and perpetuate them without even realizing it. So, how does this hangover show up in modern India? Let's break it down. Let's talk about one of the most glaring leftovers from the hangover, India's obsession with fair skin. And I'm not just talking about a casual preference. Fair skin is like the golden ticket. People with lighter skin often get what we call pretty privilege, landing better opportunities, preferential treatment, and a bonus round of attractiveness points. You see it everywhere, from Bollywood casting choices to matrimonial ads. It's not just about looking good, it's about this deep seated belief that fair skin equals success, worth, and well, everything good in life. There's yet another example. There's a popular Indian influencer with vitiligo, and almost all of her posts have comments like, "Wow, your skin tone is so special." It's almost like they are ignoring the real challenges that come with the condition just because it doesn't fit the typical fair skin mold. The mindset is no accident. It's rooted in colonial times where fair skin was linked to power, privilege, and superiority. The British planted this bias and it grew into something so ingrained that it got stitched into India's social fabric. Over time, this obsession with fair skin merged with the caste system, another hierarchy solidified by the British, created a toxic mix that's still alive and kicking today. All right, let's take a quick trip back in time. The caste system wasn't always the social evil it's made out to be. In the Vedic days, it was more about your karma and occupation than your birth. Known as the Varna, it was a working class hierarchy where everyone had a role to play, and moving up the ladder was actually possible. Interdependence was necessary for society to thrive, and people could shift between the Varnas without anyone batting an eye. It was all about function and not discrimination. But here's where it gets interesting. Over time, the system became a whole lot more rigid and hierarchical, with certain groups claiming superiority. When the British arrived, they weaponized this evolving structure for their benefit. By institutionalizing caste in governance, education, and legal systems, they deepened the divides to prevent unified resistance. This divide and rule strategy entrenched caste hierarchies and created long lasting fractures in the Indian society. So, how does this tie back to the colonial hangover? It's simple. The British didn't invent caste, but they surely turned it into a tool of oppression, leaving behind a legacy of social fractures that continue to shape India today. This gave rise to caste based discrimination, reservations, and a whole lot of social stigma. And unfortunately, politics and policies currently often exploit caste identities instead of tearing down these barriers. Now, let's talk about English in India. And trust me, it's more than just a language, it's a full fledged status symbol. If you can speak fluent English, you're automatically seen as intelligent, elite, and sophisticated. Sure, knowing English opens global doors. But why is a colonial language become a measure of intelligence? English was crowned the language of power, governance, and education under colonial rule. And somehow, the legacy still holds today. In fact, many Indian students are taught English from day one, unlike countries like Germany or China, where children learn in their native languages first. But in India, speaking English is seen as the key to success, even if it's a foreign tongue. The obsession with perfect English goes far beyond practicality. Kids as young as 5 or 6 are bombarded with the idea that only flawless English unlocks social mobility. Suddenly, it's not just about communication, it's about class. And this same mentality spills over into travel. You must have probably noticed this yourself. Mention a trip to the US or Europe in the summers, and Indians will tactically worship you. But tell them you visited Kurg or Rajasthan, and you'll get a polite smile at best. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we've come to equate Western countries with luxury, superiority, and prestige. This mindset sticks with us into adulthood, where studying abroad isn't just about education, it's about flaunting status. Sure, there are tangible benefits to these opportunities, but the status boost often takes center stage. Let's talk about another fascinating cultural trend, the action channels. You know the ones foreigners reacting to Indian movies, food, or culture? But why are these videos so insanely popular? It's simple, isn't it? Because as a society, we are craving validation from the West. It's like we can't fully embrace our own achievements or culture until someone from abroad gives it the stamp of approval. These reaction videos rack up millions of views. And sure, some of them are fun and show genuine curiosity. But at the core, they highlight a deeper need for external validation, a need to have our worth confirmed by the very cultures that once ruled over us. But it doesn't stop here. The British didn't just leave behind their buildings and laws, they left behind deep seated biases that continue to affect our society today. One of the most insidious effects of colonialism was the psychological damage it inflicted. The British didn't just impose their governance, they made us feel inferior in our own lands, in our own culture. The aftermath? A belief that Western ways were inherently superior to anything indigenous, creating a collective inferiority complex that's been passed down through generations. For some, this translates into a need for validation from the West, whether through Western education or jobs in multinational companies, or just general approval from Western institutions. We are constantly seeking that stamp of approval, but the bigger question is why? The good news is change is already underway. The national education policy is encouraging education in mother tongues, and campaigns like Atmanirbhar Bharat, along with the rise of Indian startups, are slowly shifting the narrative, making Made in India something to be proud of. But we've still got a long way to go. It's time to stop seeking validation from the West and start feeling comfortable in our own skin, embracing our culture without apology. And it's not just about topics covered in this video. There are countless examples where colonial legacies continue to shape our society. It's about deep seated, often unconscious beliefs that still shape how many of us view ourselves and the world around us. By understanding these lasting effects, we can start addressing the root of the problem and work towards a more balanced, self assured global perspective. Thanks for riding with us on this detour. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to continue our journey through the stories that matter.